Alright, this is for Crafting for a Cause Crochet Along Week 5. We're going to be working on some clusters. So I've got the cluster we're going to do is called Pebbles. So I crochet 24. It's a chain multiple of 4 plus 2. I'm sorry, it's a chain multiple. It is a chain of 26. So chain multiples of 4 plus 2. So you'll do whatever gauge you need to do to get to your 6-inch square for our lapgan. So you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So you're going to insert into the second chain from the hook, single crochet, and do that in all of the remaining chains across. So I'm going to do that all the way down. And we covered the single crochet a couple of stitches ago. So if you need to go back and look at them, you can. But you'll do that all the way across. And then when you get to the end of the row, closer to the end of the row, we'll come back. So pause the video here and crochet to the end, and we'll see you in just a second. Okay, as I've said, like as I get closer to the end of my foundation chain to hide my tail, I will hide it in my chain. I'll just crochet over it. So I'm going to keep doing my single crochets over that tail so I can hide it. So that way I don't have to go and stitch it in. And then you're going to want to chain 1 and you're going to turn. Then for row 2, you're going to single crochet in the first single crochet. So single crochet in this one right here. And then we're going to work a cluster in the very next stitch. So for the cluster, you're going to do a yarn over and you're going to put it into this stitch. It says the next specified stitch. So that very next one, pull it through a loop, and then it says yarn over, pull it through the next loop, yarn over, put it through the next stitch, pull through, and this time you should have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll yarn over and pull through all 7. And this is the cluster. Chain 1, and then you will yarn over, go into that last stitch that you did, that last cluster, and you'll do another cluster right into it. So you'll go right back into that same hole. So yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over and put it through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over into another stitch and pull up a loop. And again, we have 7 on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we'll yarn over. We're going to work it through to pull through the 7 loops off the hook to get that cluster. And we will chain one. The idea of the cluster is to get this fan looking effect. So it kind of pulls all of these single crochets together. That's what gives it the cluster look. So I'll go one more time. So you chain the one, I'm going to do yarn over. We're going to go through that, the last stitch of the cluster. Pull up a loop, yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and we have 7 loops on our hook. Yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 7 loops. Or we're going to chain one just to close that cluster. So we're going to let you do that all the way across, and get closer. I'm going to pause the video and let you get all the way across, and we'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're at our last couple of stitches, and I'm doing my last cluster on the row. So I've got my seven stitches on my hook. I'm going to finish off that cluster. Yarn over. Chain one, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in that chain two, in that chain one that we used to turn at the very beginning, and that just gives us the height for that last row. So we did that half double crochet. So I'll pull it out again so you can see how to do the half double crochet. I think we covered that in an earlier stitch before. Put the yarn over, go into that last stitch, yarn over again. You're going to pull it through that stitch, but instead of doing a yarn over again, you're going to pull it through both loops on your hook. That's what makes it a half double crochet. Then you're going to chain one and turn. And you completed row number two. Then you're going to single crochet in that half double crochet in that first stitch, in that half double crochet stitch, so single crochet there. Then you're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So you'll single crochet all the way across. We'll start, and so we'll single crochet in the top stitch of the cluster. So it will be that one right there. That's what it looks like. Single crochet, do it. So then it would be this one right here. And then that's the next one. And then the next. The really fun part about crocheting is that if you find out or figure out you've made a flub in the pattern, or you know, you're kind of not working from a specific pattern, you know, you're not making a article of clothing or, you know, a stuffed animal that is specific, you can kind of alter it. Like we're making these squares, and so they're sample squares. They're going to be for us, or we're donating them, but they don't have to be specifically perfect. It's the matter of learning the pebble stitch itself. So you can personalize it. And again, remember, any mistake you make is unique to you. So you can pause the video and we'll go from there. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, for row number 4, it says this is what the directions want you to do. They want you to single crochet in the first, to end row 3, they want you to chain 1 and then turn. Then for row 4, they want you to single crochet in the first 2 single crochets. So single crochet, single crochet, and then cluster in the next single crochet. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So 2, 4, 6, 7, and there we go. Then we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, then it says cluster in the next single crochet. Yarn over, loop, yarn over, over, 2, 4, 6, 7. Single crochet into that next one. Okay, over, over, and single crochet between the 2. And what should be happening is your clusters should be in between one another, like opposite. What I have happening is that it's pulling my stitches tighter and I'm losing stitches. So here's one of my other examples that I had going. I started out with the same number of stitches, but I lost 9. Followed the directions, and instead of 24, I have 15. and I lost 9 stitches. So kind of altered the pattern a little bit, and I didn't do the single crochet in between. I just kept doing the clusters, and I made them so they lined up, and that's how the stitches were going. I had them line up in between so they would be so that they would line up, and I did the half double crochet on the end so that it would still get the height. So that's an option. And for myself, I kind of like things to line up. I'm not exactly a cattywampus kind of person, so that may be something that you yourself might like to do, is to have them line up yourself. Again, this is a really good way to practice getting your edges straight, and use your stitch markers on each beginning and end so you know where your edges are. So we'll see you at as we get closer. Okay, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to continue doing my square with my clusters lining up. And so I've got my last cluster completed, and I'm to my last stitch here. So I'm going to do a half double crochet to get me to the height. And to get me to where it's even. So I've got my height and I've got the length. So now I've got row number 4 complete. So I will chain 1, and I'm ready to go to row 5, which the directions for row 5 are to repeat row 3, which is to do a single crochets across the top, and then what you're going to do is repeat the clusters across. So it is repeat, single crochets, and then clusters. A row of single crochets and then clusters. I hope y'all enjoy this stitch. I really like having learned how to do the clusters. I think they're going to turn out really pretty with our sampler afghan, and y'all have a great weekend.